things that you don't pick up yourself.
Exactly. So setup we talked about with the arms being
Too
a little
stiff,
bit,
yeah.
I think that sort of straight, like I say,
Yeah.
shrugging your shoulders up there,
Yeah,
it puts
yeah.
tension in the
That's
back of the shoulder
interesting
blades,
for me, yeah.
and it does seem quite sort of an
Oh, yeah.
unorthodox. We also about your
Yeah.
head. You can see here now your arms sort of hanging down a bit more from the shoulders. You're creating a bit
Yeah.
more of an angle. Okay, so
Yeah.
as the club goes back now, because your arms are in a more vertical position from the shoulders, we've got
Mhm.
more control, a lot less tension back of the shoulder
Yeah.
blades, a lot more relaxed. So we can now consistently strike the ball. You can see on this contact now as the club goes back. That is what I would say would be about a half swing for you, maybe 3/4-ish.
Okay,
I
yeah.
reckon the club would probably go a little bit further, obviously, for a full shot.
Yeah.
As we then swing back down now, again we can see a nice strike of the golf ball heading towards the target as we can see, and through to like a half swing.
Okay,
So
yeah.
roughly your half swing, I
Will
guess with
get me
was about 40 yards
with
a pitching wedge, yeah.
the pitching wedge.
That
Okay.
same swing with a sand iron was giving you about 30 yards.
Yeah, so a little bit shorter.
As you would expect
yeah.
with a
Yeah.
full pitching wedge, it might go
Yeah.
80, a full sand iron might go 65, 70. There's obviously a
Okay.
gap between each club. But having that consistency of strike, so what you'll then end up doing now, if you strike it consistently,
Yeah,
if you then think, okay, I'll swing the club to here and accelerate through, it will then go 20 yards, shall we say.
Yeah,
If we
yeah.
go to there, it might go
It goes-
10 yards. If we
yeah.
go there, it goes 30 yards. If we were to
Yeah.
go further and the club was to continue on further around the body, we would get more distance.
you get longer,
So you'd
yeah.
create some sort of distance gauge, I guess.
And you would use the wedge anything from 50 in?
I think
or-
it depends on the type of shot. I think if you've got
Okay.
anything to go over,
Yeah.
and then you need loft. Obviously, the
Right.
pitching wedge or the sand iron's going to be the one you're going to choose. Sometimes, though, you could be playing to maybe I think the good example I can think is the 6th green on the Mac, where you've got quite a lot on green.
Yeah.
If you were 20, 30 yards to the sort of side of the fairway playing up that green,
Yeah.
there's nothing in the way to go over. Maybe a lower shot
Yeah, like
with like a 9 or an 8 iron
yeah.
with a bit more roll
yeah.
would be an easier shot, because as I'm sure you realise, if your swing only goes back so far, the less is going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, the less the swing
Okay,
does go
yeah,
back, the less
yeah,
swing.
yeah,
And again, if your target is, shall we say, 40 yards in the distance there, but you're trying to land the golf ball at 10 yards there, I'd be pretty confident if your landing area was somewhere around there, you'd land on there pretty quickly and consistently
Okay.
every single time. But if you're landing with the sand iron all the way up to the top here, you may get it wrong.
Right.
So it's just about looking at the shot you've got, I think.
I do. I use my 8, if I call it pitch and
Yeah, like a bump and run or chip and run, yeah. And that can be done from sort of 30, 40,
But there
50
again,
yards
I
if you want to.
probably should have a lesson, because I don't have. I usually hit it too long.
Yeah, a lot of that is again, when people play chip and runs, they always see golf shots as more air and less run. That's the majority of shots you play
'cause they
are
go
more
quite
air.
nicely, and then
Yeah.
Yeah,
The majority of
okay.
golf shots are in the air with limited run. A chip and
Okay.
run is the only shot really where it has less air and more run. So our
Okay.
brains are sort of engaged, thinking, okay, right, it's 40 yards away, I've got to land at least 20, 25 yards.
Yeah.
When in actual fact, sometimes 30,
Maybe.
40 yards away,
Yeah.
you could be landing at 5, 10 yards away.
Yeah.
And the rest then is rolls. It's those sort of things
Okay.
we can sort of pick
Yeah,
up. But again,
okay.
as long as you're getting a consistent strike, which you will get there, Patricia, the more
Yeah.
your arms are, say,
Yeah,
hanging
like that,
down from the
yeah.
shoulders, creating the angle, and the head being nice and neutral.
Straight,
not
yeah,
tilted.
those are the two
Yeah,
things,
yeah. Does
really,
that make
aren't
sense,
they?
yeah?
Makes perfect
Perfect,
sense.
okay.